Goodness with Sporty King. And you know I always say goodness. Why? Because I don't know whether you're watching morning, afternoon, or evening. But isn't it great to have good in front of your salutation? Welcome to GLUE Wednesday. I named it, welcome to GLUE Wednesday, where even though I'll be recomposing a message from a couple of years ago, I still must remind you that Wednesday has often been called Hump Day because so many people saw the work week as Monday to Friday, and Wednesday was considered the middle of the week and therefore the hump to get over. Yet, I've redefined Wednesdays as the middle of a traditional 7-day week, regardless of when you worked. So it's the day that actually keeps the weekend and the week beginning together. Therefore, I call it the glue. And it should be therefore seen as glue, G-L-U-E. God's love undoes everything. Not that his love will tear things apart, but that it will undo the tears of sadness and brighten your day. Now, today begins International Humor Month, and I'm recomposing a GLUE flashback of my December 2024 message by just having some fun with a snippet of joy through the sharing of 3 messages for celebrating the Christian faith of Christmas and its connection to Easter. The first one is called Eve's Side of the Story. After 3 weeks in the Garden of Eden, God came to visit Eve. "So how is everything going?" inquired God. "It is just so beautiful, God," she replied. "The sunrises and sunsets are breathtaking. The smells, the sights, everything is wonderful. But I have just one problem. It's these breasts you have given me. The middle one pushes the other 2 out, and I'm constantly knocking them with my arms, catching them on branches and snagging them on bushes. They're a real pain." And Eve went on to tell God that since many other parts of her body came in pairs, such as her limbs, her eyes, her ears, etc., she felt that having only 2 breasts might leave her body more symmetrically balanced. "Well, that's a good point," God replied. "But it was my first shot at this, you know. I gave the animals 6 breasts, so I figured you needed only half of those. But I see that you're right. I will fix it up right away," God said. And God reached down, removed the middle breast, and tossed it into the bushes. 3 weeks passed by, and God once again visited Eve in the Garden of Eden. "Well, Eve, how is my favorite creation?" Eve said, "Just fantastic. But for one oversight. You see, all the animals are paired off. The ewe has a ram, and the cow has her bull. All the animals have a male except me. I feel so alone." God thought about it for a moment and said, "You know what, Eve? You are right. How could I have overlooked this? You do need a mate, and I will immediately create a man from a part of you. Let's see, where did I put that useless boob?" And doesn't that make more sense than the rib story? Send this to men with a sense of humor and women who figure this makes sense. So thank you, Jackie Edwards in Maryland, for sending me that joke years ago. And here's the lesson behind the joke. Choose your messengers carefully and realize that you're carefully being chosen as a messenger. Okay? Because maybe Eve did come first. All right, number 2, broccoli casserole. A woman goes to her boyfriend's parents' house for Christmas dinner. This is to be her first time meeting the family, and she's very nervous. They all sit down and begin eating a fine meal. The woman is beginning to feel a little discomfort, however, thanks to her nervousness and the broccoli casserole. The gas pains are almost making her eyes water. Left with no other choice, she decides to relieve herself a bit and lets out a dainty fart. It wasn't loud, but everyone at the table heard it. And before she even had a chance to be embarrassed, her boyfriend's father looked over at the dog that had been snoozing near the woman's chair and said in a rather stern voice, "Skippy!" The woman thought, "Ooh, this is great," and a big smile came across her face. A couple of minutes later, she was beginning to feel the pain again. This time, she didn't even hesitate. She let out a much louder and longer rip. The father again looked at the dog and yelled, "Skippy!" Once again, the woman smiled and thought, "Yes." A few minutes later, the woman had to let another one rip. And this time, she didn't even think about it. She let out a fart that rivaled a train whistle blowing. And once again, the father looked at the dog with disgust and yelled, "Skippy! Get away from her before she craps on you." Oh, God. So, we've chosen our messages carefully, but the lesson on this one is not to get so comfortable reading other people's actions that you lose your professionalism. Your reputation is not enough. It's everything. Think as you celebrate any holiday season. See, so often the reputation and the job is lost at during the holiday party, not at work. And as I state in my book, Morning, Noon, and Night, many people talk about building a speaking career. Okay, one of the biggest goals in this entrepreneurial world will be your reputation. You're only as good as your last speech. Once you develop that rapport with the audience, they embrace you before you hit the stage next time. So your challenge will always be to take yourself up a notch, speaking business or not. Your reputation is so important. And so the last one, who started Christmas? This morning, I heard a story on the radio of a woman who was out Christmas shopping with her 2 children. After many hours of looking at row after row of toys and everything else imaginable, and after hours of hearing both her children asking for everything they saw on those many shelves, she finally made it to the elevator with her 2 kids. Now, she was feeling what so many of us feel during the holiday season time of this year. Overwhelming pressure to go to every party, every housewarming, taste all the holiday foods and treats, get that perfect gift for every single person on our shopping list, make sure we don't forget anyone on our card list, and the pressure of making sure that we respond to everyone who sent us a card. Finally, the elevator door opened, and there was already a crowd in the car. She pushed her way into the car and dragged her 2 kids in with her and all the bags of stuff. When the door closed, she just couldn't take it anymore. No, there wasn't Skippy in the elevator with her this time. But when the doors closed, she just couldn't take it anymore. She stated, "Whoever started this whole Christmas thing should be found, strung up, and shot." From the back of the car, everyone heard a quiet, calm voice respond, "Don't worry, we already crucified him." For the rest of the ride down the elevator, it was so quiet, you could have heard a pin drop. Don't forget this year to keep the one who started that whole Christmas thing on Easter in your every thought, deed, purchase, and word. If we all did it, just think of how different this world would be. Realize and remember that the man-made calendar often aims to control your celebration. And I ask you not to let the man-made calendar restrict your celebration of those and what you honor and love to only one day. In fact, I remember my mother and father used to always say to me, hey, Christmas is every day I have $1. And last year in November, when I started driving Lyft in August, and in November, I had a young mother in my car with her probably a 3-year-old in a car seat. And the mother was just staring out the window. So I looked back, and we stopped the line, looked back, I said, well, happy Mother's Day. She jumped, she said, is it Mother's Day? And I said, is it ever not? Don't allow the man-made calendar to stop you from celebrating those and what you honor and love to be on a single day. Use every day, in fact, to celebrate joy. J-O-Y, just one you. Unless you have an identical twin, there's absolutely no one else like you. And even if you do have an identical twin, and even if you know identical twins, isn't there something that you can tell apart? There's nobody else like you. So even when someone tries to knock you off your square, say, only you would think of that, Sporty. Well, then I get to say, well, without me, it wouldn't get done. And whenever somebody, whether they're saying it in a negative way or a positive way, because somebody could say, oh, only you would think of that. Well, without me, it wouldn't get done. And then somebody could be, oh, Sporty, that's good. Only you would think of that. Well, without me, it still wouldn't get done. See, I have to have my confidence and joy in me, not in other people's words. Because even sometimes when someone compliments you, it may be a way of manipulating you. So connect that to that reputation we talked about and how you're making sure that you know who you are. Connect that to whether it's Eve's or Adam's story, but the fact that you are somebody's messenger. So you need to have good control of your message, which is you. Connect that to you. Thanks, blessings, and my appreciation to you for enjoying, after you connect, the broadcast. And for remembering that we don't have to hump. We have to recognize that you are a product of glue. God's love undoes everything. And that we don't have to hump to keep it together. We don't have to hump to get over. We have to keep it together to make it through. And God's love just does just that. Thanks for joining me as we begin to celebrate International Humor Month and International Humor Week and International Humor Day and International Humor Moments. You see, regardless of what the calendar says, Merry Easter. Thank you, God bless you, and have a wonderful week. I'm Sporty King.